Turf today. Get up and brush off the dew on that. Turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Cut it and roll that dew on that. Turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Set up, they about to come through on that. Turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Get up. Turf today. Get up. Turf today. Let's get out the way. Here comes first play. Let's maintain that turf today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Turf Today. My name is Adam Kershane, joined by my co-host Brian Laurent. And this is an awesome one this week. Somebody that's been mentioned on the podcast a few times. A few of his coworkers and mentors have been on here. So this week, Matt Powell, superintendent of the country club, or I should say maybe the country club. I think that's the way to go with it. That's, of course, east of Cleveland, Ohio. We get into a number of different things in Matt's career, including a few of the jumps he made, switching to a different school, and a lot of the people that he met along the way. We also dive into that Muirfield University and Paul Latshaw tree a little bit more than we already have. So buckle up, this is a great one. And as you guys know, Turf Today is recorded on the Superintendent Network and is brought to you by Toro. Water. It's the lifeblood of the game, the unseen force that transforms fairways into carpets, greens into glass, and roughs into playable ground. But water alone isn't enough. It takes precision, control, and innovation to deliver it exactly where it belongs. That's where Toro Irrigation stands apart. From cutting-edge sprinklers to intelligent control systems, Toro brings superintendents the power to master water like never before. Reliable, efficient, unmatched. Because every drop matters, every swing deserves perfection, and every course deserves the best. Toro. Always solving. Always evolving.
What up?
Buddy? Just
How's it going?
come flying in the door right into the office or what?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty
One chair
much.
to the next. I love it.
Yep. Got my lunch of Cool Ranch Doritos going. So
Oh, there you go.
probably mute myself when I'm munching here.
A little extra protein throughout the show never hurts.
Something
That's
like
always
that.
good. Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, I'm glad we pulled this one off. Almost didn't work for us this week. Everybody's just so fucking crazy right now, right? Like it's just such a busy time of the year for everyone, and I'm glad we got this one in, and an awesome guest too. So it's nice. You've been on the road
Yep.
for
On the road since Monday. So little trip to the Northeast. Started in New York, 2 courses in Connecticut, and then 1 in Massachusetts. I think it's Massachusetts. It all kind of runs together out there.
yeah, it's busy. Did you get to go to any sports games or anything like that?
No, nothing like that. Nope. It's routine.
All
Go to the
business. Eh?
course. Yeah, pretty much. Go to the course. Had to travel between a couple of them. Stopped by, saw a friend in New York that I hadn't seen in a little while, who just went to a new course earlier in the year. So stopped by, saw him. Yeah, and then, some road time getting from Connecticut over to Massachusetts, and then I was supposed to have a visit this morning. They had to cancel because they had airification got pushed back, and they were just kind of slammed out there. So missed that, but it worked out for us,
Yeah,
and it worked out to get home early.
That's always good too. Family likes that.
Yep. No, it worked out great. I wasn't supposed to get home till about 9:30 tonight, so it was nice to get in at 9:30 this morning.
Yeah, that's huge. And
Yeah.
we've been seeing a lot of aerification the last couple of weeks. I know we're doing it at our course. It's probably the wettest week we've had it all year too. Most of our summer was pretty droughty, I would say. I think we had like 50
Yeah.
days or something like that, without a really good rain. So to have your wettest week be your aeration week is unfortunate. But we
Yeah.
had a busy year. I think, a lot of courses were busy this year. A lot of extra rounds, a lot of member rounds, but a lot of, when you have that busy of a golf course, it kind of backs off a lot of this stuff. And, we're up here, we're getting ready for the snow soon. So it's a bit of a tight window,
Got to
but
sneak it in.
you got to sneak it in. And then the other thing is you don't have the staff, right? So if you're doing it this time of year, you're really struggling to get through. Might be tough to pick up cores on every green, or it might be tough to do every little thing you want to do. So you're trying your best, and you're still trying to please, the golfers and the members and everybody else at the golf course too, because they're all wondering what the heck's going on.
Yeah.
So
Well, and there's never a good time, right? I know a lot of people that do it in August or early September. And obviously for, a week or so, the course is in rough shape. So, they do it when you may have a little bit of staff earlier in the year. But yeah, I think everyone's kind of in the same boat. Some people have some tools that they're able to utilize to pick up cores a lot quicker and stuff like that. But it's a necessary evil,
it's a necessary evil. Yeah, true. We
Yeah.
hadn't punched our fairways in about 8 or 9 years, I think, at our course. So always verticut and would top dress the odd time, but hadn't
Yeah.
really pulled a solid core. So we got a really good toe behind unit this year, and we're out there just ripping around, and there's turds everywhere, and you're trying to blow them. It's not happening. You're driving by golfers, and they just got their hands up, and you're like, well,
Yeah.
we're aerating, charging half
Yeah.
price. Like, you're good. Hit the ball, move it out of the hole.
Right.
The
Just
ball.
clear a little path. I was going to say, you just let them dry and drag them in or what?
We've actually for the fairways this year we aerated, and then we verticut, and then we kind of blew everything and cleaned it up, and it worked really, really well.
Beautiful.
Yeah, really, really well. We went to try and do something similar to the greens. It was just too wet, so we've just been punching and cleaning up and blowing and moving on to the next one, and we finally got them done today. It was a tough week. I let a couple of the kids go early today. That was like, hey, you guys can get out of here early. It's been a tough, wet week. Like, thanks
Yeah.
for all your help. Like, come back to work next week, please.
Yeah. Well, it's introducing them to the real deal.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's the grind of any job, really. You're gonna have
Yep.
busy times and busy parts of the year, and for us, we do have many busy parts, but aeration or closing the golf course can be a big task. So it's
Yeah.
good to have some people helping. But everybody's just talking about the Blue Jays right now. That's the big chat up here, and I've seen a lot of videos of Americans that are kind of jumping on the bandwagon because everybody wants to see LA lose.
Yeah. Did Toronto win game one? I
It's tonight,
can't remember.
8
Oh,
o'clock.
it's tonight.
It's tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I saw some commercials for it that it was on yesterday, but
No, it's kind of been one of those
big time.
days where like nobody's really doing much work up here, it seems like, because everyone's so excited for the game. It's like an 8 o'clock game tonight. It's like,
Yeah.
guys. And
is
nobody's
Otani
like,
pitching for the Dodgers?
good question. Good question. I haven't all I've seen on him was they showed videos of him hitting batting practice at Rogers Center, and he's just hitting bombs into the empty outfield. So like,
Dude, how good of a NLCS last game did he have? What, 3 home runs and 10
Mhm.
strikeouts? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
it's insane. Like, the guy's on another level. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
even being the Blue Jays, looking at that, you're like, how do we even match that? How do you pitch to a guy like that, or how do you try and hit off a guy like that? So
You're welcome.
he can't. Yeah, you walk him, and he can't pitch every game. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing as
Yep.
well. But yeah, no, it's going to be fun to see Canada. Like, I was born in '89, and the Jays went through their big World Series and all that in '92, '93. So this is going to be really exciting.
Yeah,
Hoping for the best,
absolutely.
but they're up against a bit of a machine. So you
Yeah,
never
that's
know.
the only MLB team up there now, isn't it?
Yeah, there's been a joke. A bunch of people were saying like, you for the longest time you thought the Blue Jays were a hockey team, but now that they're in the World Series, you actually find out they're a baseball team.
Because they used to have Montreal back in the day,
Back in the day,
right? And they
yeah.
went to Houston, I think. Was it the Expos that went to Houston?
Washington Nationals, right?
Oh, is it? Okay. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I think they went to Washington, became the Nationals. And that was
Yeah.
they still think they're getting the team back when you ask people from Quebec. Like, the Nordiques are coming back, and the Expos are coming back, but still haven't heard anything about that. So
No. No, that's funny. I might have to give the World Series a try. Stop watching baseball. It just, Used to take so long, but now that
Mhm.
they've got the pitch clock in, at least I think they still have the pitch clock in.
They do,
Supposedly the
yeah.
games are going a lot faster, so I'm
A
gonna
lot
have to get
quicker.
that a go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I always find the beginnings of the game tough to watch, but once you kind of get into the
yeah,
sixth, seventh inning and it's tight, like that's when you can really put it on
yeah.
and watch because the first couple innings, it can get exciting, but it's baseball, anything can happen, and
Right.
usually those guys kind of find their groove later in the game and they're facing some good pitching, so it's
Yeah.
fun.
It's like basketball. You turn it on, and I love basketball, but it's like I can't watch the first half unless it's a big game or something. You turn it on with like 10 minutes left. If it's a blowout, you go to something else, or if it's tight, you stay tuned and watch
Yeah,
the last 10 minutes take an hour.
take an hour exactly. That last
It's
minute can take
insane.
so long, but the
Oh my
whole game
God.
can happen right there, right? They just keep going
Yeah.
back and forth, and
That was always my grandma's rule when she watched the Cubs. She's like, I'll tune in for the last two innings. That's all that really matters.
it's all that really
Right.
matters. Yeah,
That's all
she's
that
right.
really matters. Yeah. She used to watch baseball. She'd watch NASCAR. She's like, just turn on the last two laps, see what happens. All right, grandma.
Yeah,
I
time
love it.
management, right? You don't need to be
That's
wasting
right.
any time out here.
That's right. Yeah. Watch your Murder She Wrote and then turn on NASCAR to see what happened.
I'm not a big racing guy. I can honestly say I've never seen like a full race. Never watched a NASCAR, like
Yeah.
an F1 full race. Definitely
No,
put it on, but
it's about the only sport I can watch all the way through is a horse race. It's 2 minutes and
mhm.
there you go. There
Yeah,
you
there's
go.
usually some money down.
Yeah. Yeah. The kids are really getting into F1. That whole Drive to Survive stuff, I guess they started watching that and now they're into it. Apparently, those races only take like an hour.
Okay.
So I might have, again, another thing might have to give a go, but there's never any time to do anything like that. So
No, it's
it's like
tough.
it's why I have no idea when baseball's on because no clue what's going on in
Yeah.
the outside world.
No, that's a good point. I used to play those video games, like the Need for Speed video games, and then all the F1
Yeah,
racing and stuff, like soup up your cars and race against your buddies. We used to always do that stuff, but to
yeah,
actually sit down and watch a race, I've heard that the going to the F1 and like seeing the cars and the pit crews and all that kind of stuff, and like the whole, just like going to a golf tournament, everything they have around the actual event. I heard it's pretty fun, so maybe something to check
yeah,
out one day.
yeah. No, yeah. I haven't been to a race. A lot of my buddies go to the Indy 500 every year, and that's supposed to be a spectacle. But yeah, haven't ever been able to make it. Be fun to see it in person for sure. But yeah, I mean, those F1 ones in person, all the glitz and glamour. Those guys are celebrities. So
They are
it's
celebrities.
big
I
time.
love when you see them scrap on the tarmac too. They get out and
Yeah,
start throwing their
right.
helmets at each other.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that in NASCAR. It's like a soap opera.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It's probably more NASCAR
Yeah.
than the F1s, but yeah, those guys get fired up.
What's up, boys?
Matt, what's going on?
How
you
are you,
guys
Matt?
doing? I'm doing well. How about you?
Good, man. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, of
It's good to be
course,
on
man.
the list with some of your distinguished guests, so I appreciate
You
it.
you've been on the list for a very long time. So
I want to say your name's been mentioned many times on this show too. Some of the boys you've
What can
worked
I
with
say?
over the years.
you've
Yeah,
got a
worked with a lot of
reputation.
good guys.
Yeah.
Well, some sort of reputation, good or bad, I guess.
Yeah, we never said what they said about you. Your name came up. So
That's
that's
exactly
it.
Some of it
right.
we used, some of it we couldn't. That's just how it goes, right?
Is this a PG show, or is this what kind of show is this? I guess, but
Yeah, oh no. Oh no. Anything goes on this one, man. Anything
that's
goes.
great. That's
So what's
good.
going on, man? What's up in Cleveland?
It's been some lake effect rain the last couple of days, so it's been highs in the mid 40s and rainy, and it's a good time for finally sitting in the office to do some early order stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say
So,
you knocked out your EOP then, huh?
so Kilpeck stopped by today, and we were working on our program, and we'll wait until October 31st at midnight to submit it all. But
Yes.
I'm sure
For
superintendents
the
are the same. Tell us a minute and send it in.
Yeah, yeah. We call that sandbagging, right? You just hold it to the last
Exactly.
minute. Love it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's good to hear you're not out aerating right now. We were just talking about people having to do that right now this time of year with all the rain and everything. So you guys probably got that done in August?
So we did fairways in the end of August since we got bentgrass fairways, and then we do greens, tees beginning of October. So we did that 2 weeks ago, thank God, and got it knocked out. So it was funny. The October airification was actually warmer than the August airification. It was like
Weird.
60 and rainy in August, and then it was 80 in October. So welcome to Cleveland.
There you go. Hey, can't complain. Well, I'm sure there was some complaining because
Yeah.
it was an aeration.
Yeah. Of course, it was dry, and of course, it rains the Tuesday verification, but that's how it goes.
Always.
So you just got to roll with it and figure it out.
So we always like to start these things, Matt. We gonna go ahead, open the floor to you, let you introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you're up to.
Yeah, Matt Powell. I think I've been in the industry now for like 22 years, which seems crazy to think, but I grew up in 2.5 hours from here, 2.5 hours from Cleveland, here where I am now in Deschler, Ohio. Small farm town. Graduated, I think, with like 89 kids, so it was a small school, high school, and whatnot. But yeah, we had a 1,200-acre farm with beef cattle. Obviously, growing up doing that, helped out on the farm with my father and my uncle, and my mom was a kindergarten teacher, so good way to grow up. And golf wasn't a big thing around there because there's not, my family didn't play golf, and there's not a ton of good golf courses around. So I don't think I played golf till I was 15 years old, but I was more of a football, basketball, baseball, big sports guy growing up, and played sports my whole life, but didn't even realize at that young that this was necessarily a profession, or you could, it could be what it potentially is, and the amount, the places that you could work and the people that you could meet for, some of the biggest courses in the world. So I started working on a course when I was 19, when I was going to a college at Bowling Green, close to home, and I was going undecided to college for my first year and a half. And it's like, what the hell am I going to do? I got to figure something out. So it's like, I'm either going to be a full-time firefighter, or I guess I could, do this golf course thing, because I was starting to work part-time on the university golf course there. So we'd work on the golf course and also take care of the football fields and stuff. So it's like I kind of enjoyed it. And it kind of blended what I did growing up on the farm, plus doing sports. It's like kind of the best fit, what I love doing the most, or what I had my best background in. So at that point, it's like, all right, I can go get a turf degree. So I started going to Owens Community College in the area, which is probably 20 minutes north of Bowling Green. Started working on Stone Ridge Golf Course that summer, which was also in Bowling Green. Worked for Brian Heidinger, who was put up with me being a 20-year-old kid and then turning 21 and showing up late or not showing up for work a couple of days. He stuck by me, and he's like, I understand you're 21, but you obviously got a good future in this, so stick it out.
So that you're the reason why you had to start blowing off steam in the gym. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's why he's a bodybuilder now, and he's jacked. So he can thank me for that. So from there, you had to get an internship, and I put my name on TurfNet, and just not knowing anything at that point about the industry or how big it could be or the potential. And that's when Chad Mark reached out for working at Curling Country Club. And I had never left home, so that was a big leap of faith, leaving home and going to Cleveland to do an internship 2 hours away. So that was and I was 20, 21 years old at that point. So, but it was the best decision I ever made going there, because that set the tone for my career. So I spent a couple summers there as an intern. And then he set me up to go down to Ohio State to get my bachelor's degree. So then I switched from Owens down to Ohio State, continued my education down there, got a bachelor's degree, but he also set me up with a job at Muirfield, where I was an intern there, and then ended up spending 10 years at Muirfield from an intern, and then slowly progressing my way up to superintendent under Paul Latshaw, so it was a lot of experience with the tournaments, and obviously doing renovations every year and working with the who's who of golf now, it seems like. Then my first superintendent job after Muirfield, I got a job in Boston at Dedham Country and Polo Club as my first superintendent job, and spent 6 years there. Did a major restoration there with architect Brian Silva, and kind of, put that place on the map, I guess. And now it's ranked one of the best in Massachusetts. So that was a great experience. And then ultimately, knowing that my wife was from Cleveland here, and I grew up in Ohio, when the opportunity arose to come back here to the country club, it was a no-brainer. We'd kind of been eyeing this job and the potential for moving back. And I came back here in 22, and now I've been here for 4 years already, which is crazy. And then my first year, we did another major project with Gil Hance, restoring this golf course. So I didn't know a whole lot about this place, but very under the radar club. It's got 2 top 100 holes in the country, and it's a great old club. doing 2 renovations within a 5-year span. It's not a bad resume builder. So it's been a good long road to get here over 20 years.
So being in Ohio, is it considered the country club? Like the Ohio State? Is that how it works?
You're damn right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Love it. Love it.
And I don't know if that's right or not, but that's how I say it.
Yeah. Do you guys know where that comes from? Is that just something that was started with the school, or is it actually like an Ohio tradition?
Do you know, Brian? I don't know.
I don't know. I would have to assume it's got something to do with Ohio University and Ohio State. They probably just said, we're Big Brother. I'm assuming. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll have to Google that.
Yeah.
The sounds way better than the. So somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly. That's right. Have they changed your
Yeah.
guys' logo there at the country club for like these all in capital letters?
No, but I could certainly talk to the pro shop, and that should be
Yeah.
next year's shirt.
100%.
Yeah,
that should
or
be
just
the maintenance
hat,
team
just
shirts.
D right across
D.
the hat. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be a good seller next year. I can't wait.
That's right. Yeah. The CC, yeah, the CC on the hats next year. I like it. I like
Absolutely.
it. Although Ohio State probably has some sort of trademark or something on that. So who knows?
I know a couple years ago they tried to trademark the thing, so I can't remember if they won it or not.
Yeah.
Something tells me you can't trademark the.
I can't. I couldn't imagine. It's nuts.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
heck of a background there.
Yeah.
Talk about that first experience from when you go from working with Brian and you go and you're starting to work with Chad. Was it a little bit of culture shock for you? Were they similar? What was that experience like?
I mean, it was a wake up call because obviously being with Brian, the Stone Roads was a public course. It was still semi private. It was a good course, but just simple stuff like there, everything was triplexed, and just learning the basic stuff of using a chainsaw or cutting cups or just the day to day stuff. And then going to Kirtland, which obviously is a high end club here in Cleveland, and obviously working for Chad. And he was probably late 20s, early 30s then, so you can imagine how much more intense he was at that point. He was the newer superintendent there and doing stuff obviously at a high level. So, but obviously leaving home to go there was kind of really made you grow up, and you really understood what the potential of the business was, because the one thing he really sold me on was his Rolodex of his network and how he could help my career develop and how he could help me progress and teach me and whatnot. So that was a big selling point. Plus, it was close enough to home and whatnot where I could still be a couple hours away and get a good experience. They also had a bunker renovation coming up the following summer in 07. So, but being a kid going into it, I mean, I didn't know what I didn't know, and I just was open-minded and had a good work ethic, obviously, from growing up on the farm and whatnot. So it's like, go in and bust your ass and work hard and try to do all the right stuff, be a good teammate, and just it all worked itself out.
It sounds like an amazing opportunity. It's one of those ones you look back on and you think, if I had gone somewhere else, what does my career look like right now? You have a guy like that
100%.
that puts you, into a really good program at school, finds you a really good job at a good golf course. I would imagine that a little bit of that had to come from you as well, your hard work and your background and everything. So kind of take us through going back to school and then being able to sort of push through and get that job at Muirfield.
I think a lot of people in the business kind of do the same thing. It's kind of a slow progression. Not necessarily everybody's going to start work at Muirfield for the first job. Some people are, but it's kind of nice when you can have a slow progression like I did, where you're going from a public course with, say, 10 people. So you can kind of get a little bit more, you can kind of learn the basic stuff, learn how to do some stuff wrong and kind of have a little more leeway, and then take a step up at a Kirtland, and obviously going to the highest level at Muirfield. I mean, it's good to have a slow progression, because had I gone into Muirfield first out of, instead of the public course, I mean, who knows what, I'm sure I still would have been fine, but obviously it would have been a lot more learning curve, and I would have been more of a pain in the ass for him to start. But at least going in there, Chad had give me I learned how to spray, I learned how to water, I at least learned more stuff, so I could go in there and hold my own essentially, and try to hold my own with the other interns. And I knew what the expectation was, what the commitment looked like, and the responsibility, and all that stuff. So at least going into essentially the highest level you can, I wasn't as much of a deer in headlights. But I mean, I remember my first week there, my first day there. Paul's son David, he was 15. I'm 21. It was David's first day at work, and I think we were paving a car path behind 18, and Paul's just like, keep this kid alive for me. And I was in charge of my first day of work. I'm in charge of Paul's kid on his first day of work. It's like, what could go wrong here? But we all managed and survived. But it was good memories.
Fall isn't the end of the season, it's where next year begins. As the turf recovers from summer stress, it needs strength, resilience, and foundation to thrive through winter and explode next spring. That's where Apex 10 comes in. With organic carbon, powerful microbial activity, and improved nutrient efficiency, Apex 10 builds deeper roots, stronger soil, and healthier turf right when it matters most. Don't just put your course to bed for the winter, set it up for success. This fall, elevate your turf with Apex 10.
So you graduate from Ohio State and you decide to stay there at Muirfield.
Yeah.
What kept you, I would assume, during that 10-year span or whatever that you were at Muirfield, you probably had a couple other opportunities to move on. Why did you decide to stay and continue to work with Paul there at Muirfield Village instead of jumping into your own role somewhere?
Right after I graduated, even internship wise, like I could have went and, I had an internship that I could have just went anywhere, but I went back there again just to Muirfield for my internship. It's close to home, and obviously that area is nice, and you knew you're going to get great experience. You work with a good group of guys, so it was fun. You're working at the highest level, so there's plenty of other great clubs where you're working at the highest level, but you knew that was comparable to anywhere else you could work in the country, and you'd get tournament experience, you'd get projects experience because we had projects every single year with Mr. Nicholas coming in. So not every place you're going to get exposed to hosting a tournament, to seeing the preparation that goes into it, plus the teardown, plus keeping the course alive through a Columbus summer and doing a project every year. Plus, you could see the progression plan there, where the assistants ahead of you and the guys that were there were continuously moving on. So you knew if you trusted the process, trusted the program, and were patient, your time would come too. But I mean, I had a job offer to go back to curling as an assistant after I graduated, but I could have made a little bit more money. It would either go be an assistant at curling or stay to be a spray tech at Muirfield. And it's like, where do I want to be in 5 years? What am I going to be exposed to more? And in 5 years, when I actually want to become a superintendent, where am I going to be better off? I'm sure there was no wrong answer, but at least for me, it made sense to stay at Muirfield. So, but it was a good group of guys. I mean, it was fun. We were competitive. We were like brothers. We at least have fun together. So it wasn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you guys had a stable. Who are you there
That's a
with?
good way to put it.
I mean, I remember looking back at the 2011 or 2012 picture there, and there was 12 of us that were on that staff that became superintendents. I mean,
It's crazy.
I mean, Jake Gargis was the superintendent. Obviously, Paul. You had Scott Pavalco, Rob Frederick, Lucas Lowndes, Kevin Cooper, Clay Stewart. Me and Rich McIntosh came in at the same time. So we graduated Ohio State together, and we were there for 8 and 9 years together. Chris Flick, Kyle Steidel, Kyle Callahan. I mean, there's so many guys. I'm forgetting probably half of them, but it was a fun group.
So take us back, or take us through that process of deciding you're going to leave Muirfield Village and take a job.
That's always the good part with being there, because people are calling Paul just like they're calling Chad. I mean, I even had my architect from Boston, call me today that he knows of a job, and of course he designed in Boston, that's looking for a superintendent. So once you've built up a reputation like Paul or Chad, that if you're patient enough, guys are calling them anytime there's superintendent jobs open. So you knew just patience was the key at that point. And then I know there was probably 4 or 5 other jobs that came open before I took, interviewed for the Boston job. And I'm like, do you think it's a worthwhile job? Because I was willing to go anywhere. Some people just want to stay in a certain region, but I was open to moving somewhere else, because as long as it's the right opportunity, it could be a stepping stone or it could be a dream job. You just never know. But I think for a lot of people, and even me in your mid-20s, the patience is the hardest part. Just waiting for the right opportunity, and you never know going into it. Even going into Dedham, it wasn't necessarily dialed in. We'll say there was plenty of low-hanging fruit and opportunity there, and certain jobs like that, you can make a big impact, and just like we did, and it go through renovation and learn a lot, and set you up for you really kind of see what you're made of. But it set me up for being able to come back here, or I could have had possibly other opportunities, but coming back here to Ohio made the most sense.
How much of an advantage do you think that is long term for your career to be willing to go anywhere versus just staying put? Do you think that's a huge advantage and ultimately pays dividends long term?
Absolutely. If you're not limiting your job pool, say you're just limiting your job pool to a certain metropolitan area. Obviously, there's always a handful of like great jobs, and you kind of handcuff yourself because those great jobs are going to be potentially guys that are already superintendents that are somewhere else that could come in and take those, or bigger name guys. So you're kind of limiting yourself on how big of a job you could get if you're just staying local. And I mean, there's so many great golf courses across the country that people don't even know about. Like, I didn't know a damn thing about Boston or the Dedham job, but once I moved out to Boston, there's so many great golf courses out there that you don't know about. So plus it was kind of like me moving to Cleveland for the first time. Me moving to Boston also made you kind of grow up and see a different part of the world. I mean, I met so many great people in my 6 years there, and met so many new contacts, and grew my network because, like I just said, the architect that I work for there is calling me about jobs in Boston now. So I know people on the East Coast, I know people in the Midwest, I know people across the country because of who I've worked with, where I've gone to work, and built a lot of good relationships over the years. So it's been definitely worthwhile.
Got a heck of a contact list. Probably get a lot of texts on your birthday, don't you?
Yeah. I tend to forget about it, and then it's like, oh crap, it's my birthday. Once you get to our age, it's like you don't want to know it's your birthday.
That's right. They don't matter anymore.
No, I'm getting gray hairs, and it's like crap. But,
With knowing this many people, it'd be hard for me to ask you, your best piece of advice that someone's ever given you. But is there something that's kind of stuck with you throughout your turf career that you always keep thinking about, or just something you always go back to?
I remember, when I was working for Chad, he was like, "Not everybody's the same as you. Everybody's different. There's different personalities. There's different situations in life with people, and it's the same when you're a leader or a manager, or the same when you're an intern and trying to not necessarily one up people. You're trying to show that you're, just as good as the person next to you, but you're, especially being a manager, you got to manage people differently and get the best out of people. And, that's no different than Nick Saban trying to get the best out of Alabama or any coach. I mean, that was at least a good piece of advice that kind of woke me up to being able to work well with everybody and being a good teammate and helping push each other and all that stuff. But, being on a football team and basketball team and stuff growing up, I mean, you knew how to work on a team well, but you can't worry about what everybody else is doing, or if so-and-so's slacking. I mean, you got to push them a little bit, but you also got to understand you can't just be a dick to everybody, and you got to be able to work with people, but also get the most out of people and figure out how everybody ticks, if that makes sense.
It's a delicate balance.
Oh, 100%. And especially in today's day and age, I mean, I'm sure it was different 20 years ago. You could probably read people the riot act or flip out on people, but in today's day and age, you got to be a little more diplomatic, and you can't just lash out on people, or you don't necessarily want to have that crazy of a temper too. I mean, you got to be reasonable, and you got to seem like you got it together and have everything under control. And obviously, if you got to get into people or push people, you certainly can. But there's a way to go about everything, and there's a way to talk to people the right way and send the message properly, if that makes sense.
So you kind of came up in the business though when people could lose their shit on you. If you're waking up in the middle of the night, having one of those nightmares, whose voice is it Chad laying into you, or is it Paul?
It's a good question. Well, I mean, my dad, at least growing up with my father too, I mean, he would at least let me know right away, so I was used to it. But and that's a good way to grow up. I mean, you at least need to know accountability, and at least to know you can't be messing around, or when's a good time to joke around, or what level. But I would say probably Paul, because I spent 10 years with Paul versus a couple with Chad. So there's plenty of good Paul memories, and plus obviously being in Muirfield with Jack too. I mean, there's plenty of good Jack memories of him ripping into us as well. So
did he complain about cart paths with you?
Jack?
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the day, he could complain about whatever he wanted to because he was jacked. I mean,
That's right.
I remember.
That's right.
I mean, you knew he was the boss, and I remember him he was playing the course one day, and he took a leak behind 15 green in the woods, and he was like yelling at us because there was a pop can or something in the woods. There was trash in the woods 30 yards, and it's like, you better take care of that trash. And it's like, all right, well, if that's the worst thing that we're doing right now, we're doing all right.
Absolutely. Those are the complaints you love to hear about.
But at the end of the day, too, like, he would always be thankful and appreciative, but he always wanted to make sure you knew he was always keeping an eye on you, and everybody was on point, trying to do the best they could.
With things being a little bit different these days, how has your philosophy changed being a superintendent just over the years?
I mean, efficiency is always important. I mean, it was no different at Muirfield. Obviously, at Muirfield, we're doing stuff to a different level and different degree. I mean, that's kind of what we had to do to make that place what it was. But, there's also a realistic budget and, realistic trying to get the amount of staff and stuff you need. And it's like, if you can be more efficient with things, you might not need as many staff, or, you can get more things done, even just by triplexing greens versus sending 5 walk mower guys out, or, maybe you can boom spray greens every now and then versus spray hogging them. So just be creative in what you're doing, and always still looking to push the envelope and be progressive and learning new ways to do stuff, or maybe even just simple stuff like putting wetting agents out. I mean, you're going to make yourself more efficient instead of having to send guys out hand watering for, because not everybody can have 8 hand waters out like Muirfield can. So, you just got to kind of learn what you can kind of do with the resources you have at each course, and still try to get we still have the same expectation level. I mean, we still want to make every place we go to as elite as we can and have those championship conditions. And we still do. You just figure out the best way in your given scenario how to do that. And, the way Rich does it down in Texas versus the way I have to do it up here. I mean, every place is different, and different climates and whatnot, and you just have to be flexible with the weather scenario, and not get frustrated if you're gonna, you can't get frustrated with what the weather throws at you, or if so and so doesn't show up on a certain day. You just got to adapt and figure it out. I mean, there's always a way. There's always a solution, and you can't just say I don't know. There's always a way to figure out how to get something done. So
Find a way. We always do.
Yep.
Yeah, we always do.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember Gargus yelled at me for that one time. I said, I don't know, to him about something. He's like, never say that again. He's like, there's always a way to figure it out. And if you don't know the answer, you just say, I'll figure it out. You never say, I don't know. So Eli did to me at one point in Muirfield about that. And it's like, I never said it since.
Nice.
So,
Learn the lesson quickly. That's good. So going back to when you got the job at Dedham, it's your first job being the main guy. What was the biggest surprise for you stepping into that role?
just how much I actually knew. I mean, you're always under the wing of Chad or Paul or somebody. You always had kind of that umbrella and safety net. And then when you take your first job, it's like you realize, well, I actually know more than I thought I knew. Or, but all the stuff you take from those guys, you kind of make it your own, and also you kind of figure out the best way to do stuff or problem solve and how to adapt, because you're essentially going in there fresh. You got to start a team. You got to make the shop as efficient as you can. You got to go in there and implement the stuff how to maintain a golf course. But you end up, that's where the patience thing comes in again, because if you're patient, there's more knowledge you can gain, more confidence you can gain, more of a network you can gain as you're an assistant or as you're coming up in the business. So then you're going to be more prepared as a superintendent versus just jumping into it earlier than you think. You want to try to be more prepared than you can ever be prepared enough, but you want to be as prepared as you humanly possibly can. But even going in there, that was kind of a culture shock, because you're going from the Midwest to the East Coast. There's a lot more regulations and legislations and permitting and stuff that goes on there. And, the whole East Coast versus Midwest thing is there's definitely a difference in how everything operates. And it's a lot more fast paced and whatnot. But it ultimately made you better. You really had to figure stuff out and be very diplomatic and learn. And then even my first year, we went through the worst drought they've had in 30 years. And we had a small limited pond. So we didn't have a well. We couldn't fill the pond up. So, ultimately we were running out of water midsummer. We had to truck water in, $30,000 worth of water, and it's like, what the hell did I get myself into? But it's like, you those scenarios and those things just ultimately make you better because you figure it out. That's where also the network and the resources come in, where you call on people that have been in those scenarios, or you call for help and say, all right, what are you guys doing in this scenario, and what do you recommend getting through it?
Do you think there's more pressure and maybe even more competition amongst peers in the Northeast versus here in the Midwest?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think that's the beauty of our business. We're all competitive type people anyways, and that's what makes us great, or at least the great ones should be competitive. We were always competitive in Muirfield. So I think, we're competitive, but we always all help each other. We're competitive like brothers. We're not competitive like cutthroat or anything like that, but we essentially all push each other and give each other crap and help each other out. So I think that's what ultimately the beauty of the industry is at the end of the day, we'll all, you can call anybody, and anybody you may not even know, and we're all kind of in it together and help each other out. So, but I think that's one of the traits that makes certain people successful, is having a competitive nature, because you ultimately want to be the best, or push to be better than the course down the road and all that stuff. So if you're not competitive, then I don't know what you're going for, but I think you got to be competitive.
So was that what kind of kicked in when the
Yeah.
job came available at the country club? You decided this is a step up for me. I want to take this one by the horns.
That's a good point, because you're also competing against yourself. Whether it's seeing what you're made of, like me taking a jump up to Kirtland or taking a jump up to Muirfield. It's like, all right, what am I made of? So you're kind of competing against yourself, and I think you're still competing against yourself day to day, because even just going to the gym or reading a book or all that stuff, I mean, you're still trying to better yourself, and it's not necessarily competing with somebody else. It's everything's kind of a competition, whether it's with yourself, or whether it's with sports, or pushing each other, even as interns, or joking around, or kind of pushing each other to make sure everybody's putting in the same effort and to make the place good. So
I always think about golf when I'm trying to play against myself or be competitive with myself. It gets so in my head.
yeah, like golf, you're playing against yourself. I mean, yeah,
That's
you're
it.
playing in a tournament, but you're competing against yourself. I mean, same with if you're going to the gym, like I'm trying to bench more than I did last week or something. I mean, everything is a competition in a roundabout way. I mean, at least the successful ones should think of it that, and that's a good way to push yourself.
Is that something that we kind of had this conversation with gentleman we had a couple weeks ago, where that attitude can be taught? Have you always had that competitive nature to you, or is that something that you think you developed over time? And is it something that you've been working on with your staff to kind of push them to be a little more competitive or aggressive, or whatever that may be?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had it growing up, because I remember if I lost a one-on-one basketball game to my dad or something, I'd cry. I'd always, you just hated to lose, and I don't know what I got it from growing at an early age like that, but fortunately, I was around people that were also competitive. Like, Rich is competitive, Stidle's competitive, and that also led to some of the fun stuff we got to do with Muirfield. Like, we played shot block baseball against each other. We played cornhole against each other. Like, we would do stuff outside of work and hang out, or we'd go play pickup basketball after work on a Sunday night. Like, we just love to compete. But depending on the person, we still try to compete here. Even if it's just simple stuff around work. Like, we joke around that I'm the best backer upper in Ohio. Like, I can back up a trailer quicker than you could. So you're kind of always jabbing at each other and always saying how you could do certain things better than somebody, and try to push each other to be competitive. So I think I used to do the same thing here, and it's in a joking way. It's in a positive way to try to push people, and it kind of gets them thinking competitively. It's a positive culture that you're trying to build, and you can have a very healthy culture still being competitive. But it's ultimately, if you all want the same thing, if you all at least understand that the culture and the objective is to make a great golf course, I mean, you need everybody on the team to kind of do their part, and everybody's kind of competing in a certain, they're kind of competing in a roundabout way.
there's a big balance there because you got to have fun, but you got to take it seriously. And
Yeah,
I think the people that are
yeah,
really competitive have that work hard, play hard attitude all the time, which makes it a lot of fun. I just
oh
wanted to
yeah.
ask you about, we talked about your philosophy, and you certainly have a lot of fun and mentor at your course. But what are some of the non-negotiables for course setup or conditions and things like that for you?
I think day to day you have plenty of guests and people that come in from other clubs. So I mean, as best you can given the weather or time of year. I mean, you try to make the place day to day in and out the best you can. Kind of like we did at Muirfield. I mean, you at least know in the back of your mind what the term of conditions are like, and what there's certain thresholds that we know here that we have to have greens over 11 every day because that's what the job description says, and that's what they expect. So you at least know what certain expectations are. Obviously, you don't want to have dead grass and things thin out everywhere. I mean, there's certain levels and high expectations which they expect at a club like this, which is great. I mean, the higher the expectation, the more that's expected of you, and the greater the gratification is to meet those expectations. So, when you can go around the course, the members are thanking you, and guests are saying how they love certain features of the course and how they enjoy their round. I mean, that's the gratifying stuff, and the kind of why we do it, if that makes sense. And my level of expectation is, I don't know if there's there's no low expectations or no minimum. It's like every day the greens have to be perfect and fairways have to be as perfect as they can be, and everything's kind of a moving target to a certain degree with weather. But you at least know, and they'll tell you if something's wrong.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you.
Well, they'll tell you. So you just if you've done your job and they're not telling you anything's wrong, or if they're kind of getting nitpicking on stuff or picking stuff that's kind of out of play or out of the way, then you know you're doing it right.
I'm gonna say,
So
so how do you handle criticism? If you get a little criticism from a member, how do you take it?
you don't take it personally. I used to wear my heart on my sleeve, probably more coming up, but you kind of learn pretty quick. You don't need to wear your heart on your sleeve because not everything is your fault. I mean, I read the Extreme Ownership, so I take, that book was a great wake up call. So you take certain things to heart, but ultimately there's certain things that are out of your control with, like I say, with the weather and certain things. Maybe a mower got to have adjustment because somebody thinks something of. Sometimes there's accidents, and the more you educate and explain things to members, or if something is off or something that can easily be fixed, it's like, all right, well, I appreciate you pointing it out, and we'll make sure we get to that and add it to the list, and we'll take care of it. And I think members see how hard you work, and how you address certain issues, and how you're continuously addressing certain things that they talk about. At least if they see you're progressing and answering the call to things, and you're continuously making improvements, that they at least know that you're gonna handle it. And that's where a lot of our job is, educating the members too. And there's certain things that can easily be explained, and the more you educate them on certain things, they understand it. So I guess it goes back to communication, and also, yeah, just don't take things to heart. Like we talked about earlier, everything is fixable. Everything, we'll get to it at some point, and everything we can address. Or you know if this fairway is thin, as well, it's because it doesn't have drainage, or it's in the shade all morning and doesn't have good roots. And then we can fix that, but it's going to take certain resources and time to address it. But we certainly can get to it.
Nice, well said. All right, today for our lightning round presented by Flash Weather AI, your heads up before the skies light up. We are going to do something a little different today. So, just from your questionnaire, and obviously the conversation we're having today, a lot of the influence comes from Muirfield Village and all of the people you worked with and for there. We've had a number of them on the show. So, I'm going to read off a few names, or I'll read off a name at a time, and just give me your favorite memory of this person. Just could be funny, could be something amazing.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll be listening. So whatever your
of course
favorite
they will.
memory of this person, we'll start.
Yep,
We'll start with Rich McIntosh.
good old Richie. Yeah, a lot of good times with Richie. There was a funny story with him when we were sucking leaves on, it was like a Saturday morning or something. He's driving the leaf truck, the old Isuzu manual transmission, and he gets this thing jammed under a tree that's like a 45-degree angle on, I think, hole number 6, and he's he doesn't know he's stuck, and this thing's just bouncing up and down, back and forth. And this, there's an old cassette player in there. All we had in there was a Tom Petty cassette because we couldn't get the thing to come out. So you just hear Tom Petty going up and down. You got the Stranglehold on Me, Baby, just on repeat, and Rich is just stuck in there, and it's like, and this is a Saturday morning. We're trying to get out of there to go to a football game. Richie gets the damn thing stuck, and needless to say, that tree didn't last that fall. We cut that baby down, but
Yeah.
I mean, with Richie, there's so many memories because we even just hanging out outside of work, and Rich is a close friend to this day. So great guy.
That's awesome. The Tom Petty tree. That's good.
Tom Petty tree. Oh,
So-
it was hilarious. I can't remember if I was in the truck, but I was there that day, and we tell that story all the time.
Did you make it to the football game?
Oh, I did. I just let him get
Yeah.
stuck under the
I
tree.
wasn't
Too
driving.
worried about him. Yeah, I didn't get it wedged under the tree.
Okay, next up, Chad Mark.
Chad, I guess just taking him under his wing and kind of getting me set up for the future. I mean, that was, it's nice to have him. My two biggest mentors would be Paul and Chad, so it's great to have him. That it's kind of weird how it comes full circle, where he set me up at Muirfield, and now he's moved on to Muirfield. And he's done great things. So he's just, I would just categorize him as elite. So him and Paul are just kind of the best of the best in the business, and they're obviously where they are for a reason. And they obviously have fun cultures. I mean, they've kind of set up cultures of brotherhood and stuff, and that's why, guys like me and Rich and Steidel and Callahan, like, there's a reason we're all still good buddies because of the culture they set up for us.
Those guys are awesome. I know Paul B was definitely on this list, and we know how great he is. You could probably tell the Jimmy John story, though. That's a good one.
Yeah, we used to get Jimmy John's every now and then for airification week or something. Paul got his new vehicle lease one winter, so he just got the thing like a day or two before. It probably had 15 miles on it, and I think he was coming home from the gym one morning, and I think it was a snowy morning, and a Jimmy John's driver basically rear-ended him at a stoplight. So this Jimmy John's driver rear-ends him, and this thing is brand new. So Paul loses his mind and comes into work, and the thing is, luckily it wasn't totaled, but he didn't have his brand new car for a couple weeks. And as soon as he got his new car back, we had one of our guys get a Jimmy John's delivery sign, the ones that go on top of the car, the magnetic ones. So we got one of those and threw it on top of one of our golf carts and parked this thing. Paul had his car parked just outside the office. So we parked this cart behind his, right next to his bumper behind his vehicle, and he walks out and sees it and just starts coming on the radio and yelling at us like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? And just losing his mind. We're sitting there watching it. And I still probably have a picture on my phone for this. And basically from that point on, we've never been allowed to order Jimmy John's again. I mean, he's just so anti Jimmy John's that it's like I'll never forget it. But he just lost his mind at us, and it was just hilarious. But that was the culture that we had. We could do something like that because it was fun, lighthearted, and it's like you work so hard, and you got to have fun with each other. And even somebody as intense as Paul, you could still have fun with him, and it just made it that more enjoyable, and you kind of had that much more respect for him, where you could still have fun with him, even as the main guy and somebody that's at that level. So it was fun. But
He probably loved it. I'm sure later
Oh,
on
he
he
loved
thought it
it.
was pretty clever.
Oh, it's clever as hell. I mean, it's how we pulled it off, but that's how we got. Like, it's like we're managing a top end golf course, but we're still finding creative ways to mess with each other.
Yeah,
So
that's
it was
awesome.
fun.
People have no idea.
No.
Okay,
No.
two more guys here for you. I mean, we could go all the way down the list, but I got two more for you here.
Yeah.
Scott Pavelko.
He is one of the smartest guys, the most thoughtful guys I've ever met. I mean, you had him on the podcast, and he's talking about stuff more in depth than I would have even thought about, even with just the tournaments and how it's a TV show and how, there's a reason you got to have volunteers because you got to meet a time frame. And he's just so intuitive and thoughtful. And I mean, he's a great guy. He came here and visited over the summer, and we had a good time. So great guy. Love Scotty.
Yeah, seems like salt of the earth.
Oh, fantastic.
All right. And everybody's favorite, Tyler Bloom.
Oh God, teabag. That's what we used to call him at Muirfield when he was an intern. So he was the cover boy. So like my intern year at Muirfield, I'm going into Muirfield as just some farm boy from coming in from Kirtland, and there was four of us that were on the intern class that year, and Tyler was one of them, and Rob Frederick was like, there's a cover boy coming in. He was on the cover of like GCM magazine or something that year with the cover of him at Penn State with some study guides or books or whatnot. And it's like, how am I going to compete with this kid? He's worked at Marion, he's worked at some high end clubs, and I'm just, he's the cover boy. He's the face of the industry at this point, and come to find out, he's a gullible son of gun. We got him with the this whole side stretcher trick that summer, I think, and it's like, all right, you're the cover boy, but you're still gullible. So yeah, I love Tyler, and obviously he's done a lot of great stuff for the industry, and he's still a great friend to this day. And
That's
Well, I
awesome.
can't wait till my next conversation with him when I start calling him teabag. That's going to be great.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we had
that's
to live in a 2-bedroom apartment with four of us together for that summer, so you get to really become good friends with these guys as interns. And Jimmy O'Connor was an intern with us that summer, and he was an Irish kid. He's just a wild dude. So it was a fun group. But those are the experiences that make internships and experience like make those things fun, because you're with a good group of guys and you can have fun outside of the work, and you know still have stories to tell 20 years later about each other.
I'm surprised you guys did anything outside of work. I'm surprised it wasn't just go straight home and go to bed. I mean, you guys worked nonstop.
Well, luckily we had a bar across the street, so we were
That helps.
the apartment was right across the street from a bar, so we were able to go there a couple times. But yeah, I
Was
don't
it
think I had a day
Yogi's?
off till it was not Yogi's. We
Oh,
lived down Sawmill farther, and I lived across the road from Yogi's when I was full time in Muirfield for 7
okay.
years. So Yogi's was
Okay.
my so it was
Yeah.
perfect. I had Lifetime Fitness right there. I had Yogi's. I had Kroger. And then Muirfield was 10 minutes away, so my life was within a couple mile radius. I was good.
That's a good way to live right there.
It was all I needed, so I could walk home and be all set.
Out on the course, every decision counts. You can plan, you can prepare, but there's one thing you'll never control: the weather. Until now. Flash Weather AI doesn't just predict storms, it sees them coming. Down to the minute, down to the exact corner of your property. Lightning, rain, heat, frost, you'll know before anyone else. This isn't a forecast, this is a foresight. This is real-time AI-powered protection for your team, your turf, and your tournament. Don't gamble with the sky, take control of it. Flash Weather AI.
Is that still your stress reliever then? You're still hitting the gym pretty hard? Is that how you kind of
Yeah,
decompress?
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just as good for your, mentally as it is physically, but you at least feel like you've accomplished something for yourself, and it just get those endorphins going, and try to at least keep. Again, it goes back to keeping yourself like, how can you be better with yourself or compete with yourself so you can keep your physical health good. You're reading books, keep your mental health good, and it's like, how can you uh, kind of better yourself to make sure you stay healthy, because it's I mean, it's definitely a grind what we do in this business, and you got to be mentally strong and mentally tough to make it through the summer and deal with the members saying stuff about certain things on the golf course, or dealing with having washouts and bunkers 4 days in a row and Mother Nature. So it's like you got to be mentally tough to do what we do, and you at least got to be able to have stress relief, or um, I love sports, so even just going to a sporting event or meeting up with some guys to go to a Browns game or go to a Buckeyes game, or going to these seminars in the wintertime to catch up and have fun. Like those are you got to be able to recharge and have those things, because otherwise you're just going to burn yourself into the ground. So everybody's got to find a hobby or kind of a way to recharge and keep themselves fresh, and also better yourself.
You'd be working with some younger people or some less experienced people in our industry. We always like to ask some superintendents and people like yourselves that come on the show just for some advice for some of those younger people or people looking to take their first assistant's job or first superintendent's job. What advice do you offer some of these folks?
Be realistic. Obviously, you need to understand you got to be patient, but you also want to make sure you work for the right people and people that are doing it for the right reasons, and people that are going to share the information, kind of ultimately try to give you some ownership in the golf course, and ultimately try to better you. I mean, I try to be collaborative with our assistant, with even with our interns, like bringing them in. I mean, if you want to be involved and ask questions and be a sponge, I mean, we're here to help you. I mean, ultimately, it'll make our job easier because you'll know more what's going on. You'll be more skilled. You'll know how to do more things, and ultimately, we want to develop you because we want to build a program here where a progression plan where once our system moves on, there's somebody kind of ready to take the next leap, and we've got enough depth here where we can also make sure you guys have certain time off. If you want to take off for a wedding this weekend, well, we still got 4 guys here to water and make sure we're covered. So it's ultimately all to make everybody better, develop them, make them prepare for the next step. Also make the work more enjoyable. You want to have a good group of people to be competitive with and enjoy work, and also be able to make sure whatever life outside of work you have, you can still have opportunities to take part in those things, and ultimately, I mean, enjoy what you're doing. But they still got to understand, when the rubber hits the road, you gotta be one to grind and make sure you're committed to taking care of the course and doing whatever it takes. I mean, grass doesn't know that it's Saturday or Sunday. I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
That's a good point.
So, but yeah, commitment's a good one. Working for the right network, having the right mentor, working for the guys that are ultimately going to want to help you, and not just hide information, and people that are going to help in the long run make you better, and also push you. You don't want to work for guys that aren't going to also push you as well.
Absolutely. Well, this has been awesome. I know we're running up here on an hour. We always like to take the last couple minutes if there's anything you want to talk about.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of good stuff. I mean, it's a great industry. I mean, I love what we do. It's fun. Get a lot of enjoyment, gratification in what we do, and there's a lot of good people that want to develop people like Pauls and Chads and Ronies, Zimmers. I mean, you can go on and on with the big names and people that have like their coaching tree underneath of them. So I think it's cool to see how now I'm kind of getting in this and getting older, where I'm starting to have some superintendents under me and some people develop under me, where I can kind of ultimately help them grow, just like guys before me helping me grow. So that's kind of the funny part, which also means I'm getting old, but it's also fun to see even some of these homegrown kids that we've got, that you get them as interns, or kids in high school that don't necessarily have don't know what they're going to do for a career, kind of like I did. So I've had 3 or 4 guys that have gone into the turf industry, like Pat, who got that scholarship last week, or Anthony Tibaldi, who's been working here for 4 years, but now he's going to go down to Scioto for an internship next summer. So I think that's where I see people complain about there's nobody in the business, or young people don't want to work. I mean, I think that's BS. I mean, I think it's on us, the superintendents, to develop the people, or take the time, and even go out and recruit and get people in the business. I mean, I think it's up to us to continue to get people to be interested in our industry and ultimately make people better. So I think it's just people with not the right attitude that want to sit here and complain. I mean, complaining is going to get you nowhere. You got to be willing to find the solution and make the effort to do whatever it takes to get people. So
Beautiful.
Very well said. Sorry, I got a vacuum going in my background. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
I can't.
Okay, good. The microphone's canceling it out. No, that was really well said, Matt.
It's a good
Really well
microphone.
said. We appreciate you
it.
giving us some time today. It's really cool that we got to connect with another one of the Muirfield Village. What were we calling it? Muirfield University graduates, right, Brian?
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's
Well,
cool to
and
talk to you guys, and there's
yeah.
only more coming, right? And it's cool to hear about your own tree that you're trying to produce.
Well, and it's funny, we still have a Muirfield Alumni Fantasy Football League. I mean,
No way.
even guys that worked there 20 years ago, when we re-upped this fantasy football league, and we're all super competitive, so we still talk crap to each other. I mean, it's just it's like we didn't. It's like we were still working together, and we're still texting about it all the time and having fun and joking around. It's just, I mean, that's the cool part that we're all working at our separate courses, but that's still a good way to stay connected with each other. So, it makes it fun.
That's awesome. You coming down for the Penn State game?
I mean, is it even going to be much of a game? I mean, it seems like it's going to be Penn State's
always a
home
game
fight at this point. I don't have plans to, but
okay.
I'm sure if somebody said, "Hey, we got an extra ticket," I'll be down there pretty quick.
All right. Well, let me know if you do.
I'm looking for any excuse to come down there. I haven't been down there for a game yet this year, so
you don't need an excuse. Just come down, man. We got a bar right next to the shoe. If you don't get a ticket, that's it's perfect. The game's even better in there. Game's even better inside. So good stuff, man.
Good.
Well, appreciate your time, and you've got a new neighbor up there too, don't you?
I do. Yeah,
you guys connected yet? Yeah.
And that's the crazy part. Him and I worked together back in 2008 when he was at Belfair. He was an assistant at Belfair, or I think a superintendent at one of the courses. And that's when I was graduating from Ohio State, and I couldn't start right away at Muirfield because it was wintertime. So again, that was an opportunity to travel. So Paul sent me down to Hilton Head for 3 months to go work at Belfair for Eric Graytalk. And Gavin was one of the superintendents of the courses because they had 36 holes, and that was 08. Now come 17 years later, now he's my next door neighbor. So it's like,
that's awesome.
Me going to Boston, me going to obviously down to Hilton Head, obviously 10 years in Muirfield, plus hosting all those tournaments. I mean, you never know where your network's going to lead you or where opportunities are going to take you. And, again, you keep good relationships with all these people and, be good to people, don't burn bridges, and have, you still have these relationships years later. And it's like, it's crazy how it works out sometimes. So
that's
funny.
Awesome. That's awesome. Wives from Cleveland and now your neighbors, right? That's
well, it's funny.
Common
that's where
theme.
It always takes us. Yeah. I mean, if my wife wasn't from Cleveland, who knows where I'd be? I mean, I'd be up for whatever, but that's why Gavin moved back too, because his wife's from Cleveland.
Awesome, man. Well, great catching up again. Appreciate you coming on here on such short notice. So great conversation as always.
No, I greatly appreciate it. It's an honor to be on with you guys, and I appreciate what you guys are doing for our business. I look forward to seeing you guys coming up during trade show season.
Yes, sir.
We'll be around.
We'll tell some more stories, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. The ones you can't tell on air, right?
Oh yeah. I remember last year, Chad and Steidel and those guys were telling you plenty of stories. So
yeah. McCormick still wants to do the dark side of turf podcast where you can tell all those stories. Like, man, come on, man. Be careful what you wish for.
You got a decent job.
That's right.
I was gonna say maybe after we retire, or we'll start writing some memoirs or some books or something.
That's it. Be a bestseller.
I mean, we should just write a book of just the Muirfield stories. I mean, just from the experiences there. I mean, I think, people would read it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's funny.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right, man. Well, great to see you. And look forward to catching up again soon.
Sounds good. See you guys. Have a good weekend.
Thanks a lot,
you
Matt.
too. We'll see you, Matt.
Bye.
It's cool to go back to the Muirfield University every once in a while and check in. That point in time at that property had a lot of influence on our industry.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean the tree that's come through that place is incredible.
Yeah, and I'm sure there certainly are other ones throughout the country. Yeah. It's just one. I mean, you live around there and you're close with some of those guys, and we've kind of branched off by chatting to some of them. It'll be cool to talk to some other superintendents from around the country and talk about some more of those trees that are starting to move.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I was just out in again in the Northeast, and you hear about all the different trees that have come from, Winged Foot and other places, and in the New York metro, and like Matt was just saying, in the Boston area, and just all the great golf that's around there. I mean, all these guys kind of have their own groups that they come from, and they just keep growing. Mm-hmm. But obviously being close to here and having known Chad for a long time, and even when Paul was there, had an opportunity to get out there and spend some time when Matt was still there, and a bunch of the guys that he was talking about. So it's those are really good ones to to reconnect with. And it's funny, you listen to them and, they've all got a very similar mentality. So you can kind of see how they've all come up together and all developed, through the same kind of learning on the job with Paul or Chad. I mean, it's almost scary how similar their mentalities are.
Yeah. Well, like they're so competitive and you work so hard that when you get some free time, you can't just turn it off, right? You're still going to continue to have that fun. So it just turns into different things, right? You put that energy into a different way. So the stuff that happens off the field or off the course around there must have been crazy.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was always good.
We are back with another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring PhD agronomist Tony Goldsby from the Andersons. Our question today comes in from Jay McCormick. Curious what Dr. Tony's thoughts on pulling cores are and dragging them back into the push-up greens.
Yeah. So again, thanks for having me on the show this week, Adam. And another great, question that's submitted this week by Jay McCormick. And, it's really a great topic, and especially when you're looking at older push-up greens, that can certainly be a struggle with organic matter and water infiltration on them. So in general, I'm not a fan of dragging your cores back in on native push-up greens when possible. Ideally, while it saves you on labor, you're essentially just redistributing that same thatchy hydrophobic material that you tried to remove through coring right back into your profile. So it's always better to remove the cores off the surface and then top dress with a clean sand that matches your profile particle size. And that's really how you dilute that organic matter and improve your drainage over time in your putting green profile. So if you're going to drag anything back in, ideally make sure it's incorporated and clean, and like I said, matches ideally what you're trying to get in the long run. I know it's tempting to go with putting the cores back in. I've removed not nearly as many as you superintendents have just on a small research green, and realize it's pretty back-breaking work, and there's no real good way to do it. But unfortunately, it is a necessary evil in this case.
This wraps up another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring PhD agronomist Tony Goldsby from the Andersons. That's going to do it for another week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Share the show with your friends in the industry. Make sure to head on over to any platform that you download the show on or listen to the show on. Leave us a rating, obviously 5 stars. Leave us a review. That's always helpful. And always reach out to us if you want to see things, hear things on the show. We are always here for you guys. Shout out to our sponsors. See you guys next week. It will be a fun one. Keep those reels sharp.